Hey everyone, Mike Miller with the Herald Times, joined by Jeremy Price, a football columnist, coming to you from Memorial Stadium after, what was it, 52-17 Indiana win, no doubt about her.
I thought you were going to ask me how long the game was. Almost 4 hours.
Don't want to think about that again. It was, darn near 4 hours. It was one of the longer games in recent memory. I think the Michigan State game last year was maybe the longest in recent memory.
But that was overtime.
That was overtime. This was
regulation. That was exciting.
That was exciting. This was regulation against a really bad team.
This was exciting for like 5 minutes.
An exciting start, and after they went up 21-0, it's just sort of like, I don't really want to watch the rest. I've seen enough here. But, you know, by sticking around and watching, you got to see a really fine performance from Morgan Ellison, who don't have it in front of me, was 186.
Yes.
Becomes the 11th player in Indiana history, 11th freshman in Indiana history to rush for over 100 yards in the game, and his 186 yards are, I think, the fourth most by a true freshman. I think Anthony Thompson has the record of 207.
Yes. Shocking. Anthony Thompson holding rushing records.
Yeah, imagine that. And here's the deal. It's something to feel good about. I think it's kind of a sort of a get-right game for Indiana. They were able to kind of reset, I think, kind of the rushing, the blocking, for a team that really wasn't doing either of which very well through the first couple games. This was just really an opportunity to maybe just wipe the slate clean, I think, a little bit and start over.
It was, and the big thing for Indiana is how many times has Indiana gone into a game like this and made it more difficult than it needed to be. For once, an Indiana team came out, took care of business. This game was in the books basically by the end of the first quarter. You knew who was going to win. You knew which team was the better team. And there was never a feeling of Georgia Southern getting back in this game. I mean, it was 31-0 before they scored, and even then, it was just kind of like, whatever, blip on the radar kind of thing. So from that perspective, I think it was good for Indiana to again, prove that they can take care of business. And I think, obviously, it's still early, and we've kind of had a halting start to this season with the opener and then 10 days to Virginia and then the unexpected bye week and everything. So it's kind of taken some time here, but we're seeing little steps along the way. Indiana going on the road to Virginia, taking care of business. Indiana coming home against an inferior opponent, taking care of business. Those are all little steps in the right direction ultimately.
Definitely, and like you said, this was an opportunity. I think Indiana really took it as an opportunity to rest some guys. Rashard Fant didn't play, Mike Machette didn't play, opening the door for Morgan Ellison. And others didn't play too. Simon Stepniak sounded like a guy who could have played at right guard today, but they gave Mackenzie Noir the start and was able to get him some pretty valuable time on the field today. I think Greg Gooch was actually supposed to be suspended for the first half after the targeting call at Virginia, but at this point, why even bring him out for the second half? Again,
he did play a little bit.
Oh, did he actually come out?
Yes, he did play at least a series, I think.
Okay, did he? Okay.
I don't know if it was much more than that.
Well, even so, this is just a game where you can get your depth guys involved because as we saw against Ohio State, you're going to need depth. And now with the impromptu bye, you got 10 straight weeks of football. So it was good, I think, from that regard to get some other guys some reps.
It was, and, we make a big deal about the day Morgan Ellison had, but really it's less about who the running back is and more about that offensive line actually opening up some holes so that the running backs can get something going. And, some other guys had some decent runs in there. Cole Guest had a big run, 42-yard run even at one point. Devontae Williams, actually his big play was in the passing game, but again, he had some good moments there. Just like you said, the progress on the offensive line, getting some guys back healthy, sticking some new guys in there, that's a big thing that Indiana's got to shore up going forward. And in a hurry when you've got Penn State coming up next on the schedule.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be an interesting game just from the fact that was a game Indiana probably should have won last year. I think they had 5 fumbles or something like that. And I think they did, well, probably statistically, if we go through it, they probably did the best of any team Penn State saw all year, bottling up Saquon Barkley, who I think only had about 59 yards in that game. Scored twice, but still 59 yards, holding a Heisman-type guy to that kind of output. We'll see what happens in State College. But, again, this is kind of a reset game for Indiana getting back and feeling good about themselves. And again, you're heading into the meat of the schedule, the Charleston Southern game aside. But I think there are certainly some things. You don't want to take too much out of this game, but some things that certainly bode well for building off of moving forward.
And you've got things in all 3 phases of the game.
Yeah.
Indiana got another punt return for touchdown from Ja'Shawn Harris, second in a row. Joining only Rob Turner is the only 2 guys to have punt return touchdowns in back-to-back games. So that's some good company. Tying the record of 2 punt return touchdowns for an entire season. He still has 9 games, maybe 10 to break that. So, good luck there. Defense got involved, 3 takeaways. I think the first 3 takeaways of the season, actually, and a defensive touchdown to cap things off. So you've got something in all 3 phases that you can work with and probably offensively, the thing is that running game, and they basically shelved the passing game today. I mean, one big pass play from Richard Lego to Ian Thomas, and other than that, throwing the ball was strictly optional.
Yeah, they each had one really nice throw. Lego obviously with the Thomas throw, and Peyton Ramsey, I thought it put a really nice pass on that swing throw to Williams. So again, you don't really take anything from the quarterback situation from today, but
no,
we'll know a whole lot more.
Other than Lego got hit there, late hit, getting the knee looked maybe a little gimpy or whatever.
He did get retaped and was walking it out, and both he and Tom Allen said he could have played had it been necessary, but again, this was not necessary, not after Indiana raced out to that early lead and basically just boat raced Georgia Southern all the way out of Bloomington. So.
Yeah, and you're going to need both those quarterbacks going forward in this season, I think, too.
So let's not spend any more time on Georgia Southern game. This was the coming out party for Morgan Ellison.
There you go.
That was it. That was the Georgia Southern game.
That's the big thing. A 4-hour game, we don't really need a 4-hour scoop talk to discuss it. Sorry.
All right, we will regroup, and we'll see you next week in State College. Thanks, guys.